Anyway, just to sum it up on welfare systems, I believe that like anything, there's pros and cons to most, especially programs and systems. There's pros and cons and a lot of this stuff. And it can be misused, like many other stuff. But overall, I believe that is necessary for, like the definition said, it's necessary for needy people. So what are your views and thoughts?
Um, so I think it's necessary, but necessary to accomplish another goal. It's not necessary to for needy people, I should say, because what's most pertinent and necessary for these needy people is to make them permanently unneedy by helping them build wealth. So that video just outlined and highlighted, there's been so many programs and policies to keep us from gaining and attaining generational wealth and closing the wealth gap in this country. And the welfare system is just another ploy to continue that agenda. Guys, I'm on the phone. Please stop yelling. To continue that agenda. So what they basically are trying to do is, as opposed to having these overt programs that deny Black people wealth, they have covert programs now that deny Black people wealth. And welfare is the chief primary tool of the system to deny people from building generational wealth.
All right. So anyway, just to sum it up on welfare systems, I believe that like anything, there's pros and cons to most, especially programs and systems. There's pros and cons and a lot of this stuff. And it can be misused, like many other stuff. But overall, I believe that is necessary for, like the definition said, it's necessary for needy people. So what are your views and thoughts?
So I think it's necessary, but necessary to accomplish another goal. It's not necessary to for needy people, I should say, because what's most pertinent and necessary for these needy people is to make them permanently unneedy by helping them build wealth. So that video just outlined and highlighted, there's been so many programs and policies to keep us from gaining and attaining generational wealth and closing the wealth gap in this country. And the welfare system is just another ploy to continue that agenda. Guys, I'm on the phone. Please stop yelling. To continue that agenda. So what they basically are trying to do is, as opposed to having these overt programs that deny Black people wealth, they have covert programs now that deny Black people wealth. And welfare is the chief primary tool of the system to deny people from building generational wealth.
Oh no. You go ahead. I was in the background telling them
Oh,
stop.
okay.
Make
It actually, what it does is actually incentivizes you to be broke. They give you rewards and gifts for being broke and not chasing chasing the bag, if you will. So as a result, it's just 100%
stuff. But overall, I believe that is necessary for, like the definition said, it's necessary for needy people. So what are your views and thoughts?
So I think it's necessary,
The stuff.
but
But
necessary to
overall,
accomplish
I believe that
another
is
goal. It's not necessary to for needy people, I should say, because what's most pertinent and necessary for these needy people is to make them permanently unneedy by helping them build wealth. So that video just outlined and highlighted, there's been so many programs and policies that keep us so what they basically are trying to do is, as opposed to having these overt programs that deny black people wealth, they have covert programs now that deny black people wealth. And welfare is the chief primary tool of the system.
all right. So anyway, just to sum it up on welfare systems, I believe that, like anything, there's pros and cons to most, especially programs and systems. There's pros and cons and a lot of this stuff. And it can be misused, like many other stuff. But overall, I believe that is necessary for, like the definition said, is necessary for needy people.
All right, so you heard my response. Let me make sure I can be heard. Hold on, sound check.
Designed right around the same time,
Like,
that they, as I say, they did a trick on us in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. That they, as I say, they did a trick on us in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
See, I'm over here talking on mute. That's why it's important for sound checks. I'm over here talking on mute.
That they, as I say, they did a trick on us in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s.
See, I'm over here talking on mute. That's why it's important for sound checks. I'm over here talking. All right. So
that they,
what the fuck?
They did a trick on us in the early 70s.
What the hell is going on here, man? All right. So now you heard him. We're talking, remember, guys, gals, this debate topic was about welfare, right? Is it good or bad for who we call Black Americans? You can say Black Americans, you can say African Americans, you can say FBA ADOS, free people. We're talking about people who have a lineage in this country, Black people who has a lineage in this country that goes back to slavery. Okay? So I was saying, my position is welfare is good for people, period. So that's Black FBAs, ADOS included. Welfare is good. His position was this. Listen.
All right. So anyway, just to sum it up on welfare systems, I believe that
I want folks to call in. Y'all gotta stop being scared. Like, y'all calling on topics you know about. It's okay to call in about a topic you don't know much about. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
like anything, there's pros and cons to most, especially programs and systems. There's pros and cons and a lot of this stuff. And it can be misused, like many other stuff. But overall, I believe that is necessary?
Okay, you heard my position. Welfare is necessary. There's pros and cons to it, but it's necessary. All right.
Or like the definition
I'm
said,
gonna try to speed up a little bit because this dude is long-winded as hell. So if the speed is too fast, let me know. But I gotta try to speed it up because we'll never get through this without speeding it up.
it's necessary for needy people. So what are your views and thoughts?
So I think it's necessary, but necessary to accomplish another goal. It's not necessary to for needy people, I should say, because what's most pertinent and necessary for these needy
He said it's not necessary for needy people. You heard him. One more time, I want you to catch his words, man, because I hear what he's saying, and I'm going to respond to what he's saying, but he never responds to what I'm saying. He just keep with his argument. He keeps expanding his argument, but he never responds to what I say. He never got questions for me ever, 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 no matter the topic. He never, ever has questions for me.
to accomplish another goal. It's not necessary to for needy people, I should say, because what's
is not necessary for needy people, he should say.
Most pertinent and necessary for these needy people is to make them permanently unneedy by helping them build wealth.
Okay, so he said welfare makes needy people permanently needy. But this is a guy who's winging it. And I warned him, I cautioned him early. I called him on the phone. We talked. I said, bro, do not come on this live winging it, bro. This is the wrong live to come on. And I promise you, I spared him. I still won, but I spared him. If I show you my bullet points, I spared him. I didn't even need to do the overkill, to finish him. I didn't need to do a finishing move. I feel like I did enough.
So that video just outlined and highlighted, there's been so many programs and policies to keep us from gaining and attaining generational wealth and closing the wealth gap in this country.
And so right off the bat, his focus is on gaining wealth. That's not my position. My position is not that welfare helps you with generational wealth. That's not my position. My position is that welfare, as I said earlier, and I started off in my intro, welfare is for needy people. The definition, look at the screen. Well, I'm sorry, you can't look at the screen. Okay, now you can. Hold on. Now you can. That is the definition of welfare. It's financial support given to people in need, needy people. Nothing about the definition says it helps you with generational wealth. So this is him taking it somewhere that it does not put itself. Welfare never makes the claim it helps you generate generational wealth. So for him to make that argument again, lets you know he's not on my level, man. It's clear he's not on my level. Most folks are not on my level when it comes to debating because I stick to topic. I don't go off topic. All right.
And the welfare system is just another ploy to continue that agenda. Guys, I'm on the phone. Please stop yelling. To continue that agenda. So what they basically are trying to do is, as opposed
to... Okay, so what they are, the they. So he mentioned a pronoun, a plural pronoun, without establishing a noun, a plural noun. So when he says they, we don't know who the they is. Right? This is something unbiased Ron, FBA Defensive Unit, would never do. Or if you see me doing this, call me out. And I will establish that plural noun or singular noun. I don't do the they, them, all this little LGBTQI plus pronoun stuff. I don't do that. I establish the noun, and then I do the proper thing afterwards. I give you a pronoun. Okay, but he established a noun. He established a pronoun, plural pronoun, without first establishing the noun. So now we're talking about welfare. So I'm guessing he's talking about welfare. That's only what a sane person can do. We have to guess when he says they, because he did not establish a plural noun. We have to assume he's talking about welfare. So welfare is the they. All right.
to having these overt programs, what they basically are trying to do is
okay. So he's not. So it ain't welfare. So it has to be government. But then he can't tell you which government is it state, local, or federal. We need to know that. It's a big difference. Federal don't agree with state. State don't agree with federal. Like they're not on but like these black allergists, these black power people, they don't get it. And I'm not gonna waste my time teaching them on the fly. Yo, state government does not agree with federal. State government says marijuana is legal, federal says it's illegal. They don't agree, but you have to know the history of government to understand that. This is why most of these folks can't rock with me, man. The bottom line is that you guys don't research. You don't put more time into research than I do. I can make up excuses, or I work too. I got a kid too. I can make up all the excuses. Whatever you're doing, I'm doing, and I'm setting aside time. I'm not playing video games. I'm not playing basketball, whatever other good hobby out there. I'm not doing that. I'm sacrificing all my time to research, research and development, R&D. You dig?
As opposed to having these overt programs that deny black people wealth, they have covert programs.
He said there's overt and covert programs to deny people wealth. Okay. Overt, I can agree. When he says covert, that's the problem.
Now, that deny black people wealth. And welfare is the chief primary tool of the system to deny people from building generational wealth.
Okay, you heard that. Welfare is the chief program that denies us, FBA, ADOS, free people, to deny us generational wealth. He said welfare is. And so later on in the conversation, I pointed out, bro, I don't know one economist, white or black, that says welfare is a major issue and why the wealth gap between blacks and whites are so widened. I don't know one, but this is the problem when you want to wing it versus me. Like, dude, it's me. I'm not gonna let none of y'all get this off. I don't care how cool I am with you. I don't care nothing about that. I don't care if I came to your wedding as your best man. You're not getting off the hook. I'm the can man for a reason. Anybody can get it. If you're wrong, I will correct you or attempt to.
Oh, no. You got it. I was in the background telling
Oh, okay.
What
it does is actually incentivizes you to be broke. They give you rewards and gifts for being broke and not chasing chasing the bag, if you will. So as a result, it's just 100% detriment to black people, 100% detriment to the generational.
He said it's 100%. Welfare is 100% detrimental to us, black people, right? Black people. It's 100% detrimental. That means there's no good in it. Now this is the guy who claims he does not speak in absolutes. All right? This is the guy who debates me and claims he doesn't speak in absolutes. And he just said 100% detrimental. That's absolute, my boy. 100% is absolute. All right. I don't know what you think 100% mean, what it means, but it means absolute. Okay? You can count on it. They're not ready. It looks easy when you guys watch from the chat. It looks easy until you get under these damn lights and you face a serious pit bull, figuratively unbiased Ron, FBA defensive unit. It looks easy until you're up here in front of folks. It's being recorded, it's being documented, it's being archived. I'm not deleting it. I will replay. As you see, I replay my stuff. It will be replayed over and over and over and over, especially when I get a large audience. It will be replayed. You dig? So you're not ready. And listen, man, that's all I gotta say. You're not ready. You don't speak in absolutes, but you said welfare is 100% detriment. I mean, there's no good in it for black folks. You're done. You lost.
generationally poor, if you will, and we'll never be able to break this cycle or close this wealth gap if we continue to have welfare.
Why is welfare even mentioned in the same sentence as the wealth gap? Welfare is for needy people. You see the definition. So if you're in need, you don't affect the wealth gap. You don't have any wealth. You don't have any income. You're at the bottom. You go to welfare when you're at the bottom. You're a bottom feeder when you go to welfare. So why are we talking about generational wealth when we're talking about welfare? Those two words don't go in the same sentence. Oh, shit. I didn't fast forward. That's some goofy shit I just did. Oh, boy.
You to be broke. They give you rewards and gifts for being broke and not chasing.
Okay, so he said he made the claim that welfare gives you rewards and gifts. And I'm going to ask him later, because he said it so many times over and over and over, I'm going to ask him later, what are the rewards and gifts of welfare that they give you to be broke? This is a conservative, right-wing extremist point of view. Okay? This is a Candace Owens talking point. So I believe most of his research comes from watching Dr. Umar Johnson and watching Candace Owens. I believe most of his research comes from those two people.
Be chasing the bag, if you will. So as a result, it's just 100% detriment to Black people, 100% detriment to the generationally poor, if you will, and we'll never be able to break this cycle or close this wealth gap if we continue to have welfare. Elijah Muhammad said it the best. He said, "Say farewell to welfare," and it's true. It's not in our best interest at all. It was literally designed right around.
Hey, yo, be active. Let me give him a wrench real fast. He said it best, man. Be active says welfare is more about helping the kids first, and then those who can't help themselves. Exactly. Yo, you're going first in line. If you're pregnant or you got a toddler or a baby, infant, you're first in line. You dig? They're gonna bump you up. Be active is 100% accurate. Okay. So Donnie said he agreed. I'm not undermining. MC Facts said Beast Active is back. The Watcher said Premium Blacks is why. Hey, bro, this is an easy topic right here. Listen, and this is what I was saying. Tariq is a good guy. Pure motives as far as FBA, right? Pure. But it doesn't mean he's not going to make a mistake in research or in debate. Okay, Tariq is no better than Donnie. Tariq is no better than Chuck. He's no better than Same Day MC Fact with the Watcher. Nobody's better than you guys, man. Like, nobody's better than you. Like, at the very best, they're equal to you. If that. So Tariq is he's not exempt. Tone Talks and Yvette, Dr. Claude, they're not exempt, man. Like, nobody's better than you. So with that understanding, that means that these people can make a mistake. Dr. Umar is not better than you. Donald Trump is not better than you. These guys can make a mistake like you can. Right? So that means you got to take the good. That means you gotta understand there's a good and a bad with every individual. Even your significant other, even your kids. You know there's good and bad qualities with everybody, even yourself. There's good and bad qualities. So never hold anybody above good and bad qualities, right? So when people criticize Umar, Tariq, or whoever, it's okay. It's like, and they can't, if they lie, you call them out on the lie. But if they want to criticize, they like, that's, they're open, like, that's their right to criticize and give opinions. No problem. That don't offend me. But if you call Tariq, this or that, charlatan, that doesn't bother me. If you call Umar a charlatan, that doesn't bother me. But when you start to lie, if you say Donald Trump did something he didn't do, that's when I got you. I wait on the lie. I don't wait on a public opinion. I wait on the lie, the defamation, the slander, and that's when I got you. Okay? I'm a spider waiting for you to get in the web. And I got you. I sit back and wait, and I got you. Because you're going to talk yourself into this damn web. And I got you, and I'm not letting go. I'm going to wrap you around. Like Spider-Man, you dig? You're not getting out. Okay, let's continue.
Around the same time, that they, as I say, they did a trick on us in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They murdered off all of our leaders. They globalized, took all of the factories out of the.
Now, when he says, okay, this is a guy who's not good at Black history. They murdered all of our leaders. What the hell is he talking about? Robert F. Williams died a hero. A. Philip Randolph died a hero. What the hell is he talking about? They murdered all our readers. Now, when they say they, I don't know who the they is. You got to be specific, bro. Who the hell is the they? All right? You got to get that. So the person who murdered Malcolm X has nothing to do with the person who assassinated Dr. King. I'm confident in saying that. Okay, that is an unrelated incident between those two. Okay, totally separate. But according to Focus, this is where the conspiracy theories come in at. According to Focus, it just makes sense to say one person is behind all of these attacks, all of these murders, all of these assassinations. There's one person behind. That just makes sense to him. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm too smart to make a dumbass mistake like that.
The hood. They had already cemented the wealth gap with the Unfair Housing Act, FDR's Housing Act.
Okay, so now he's saying the Wait, what did he say? Let me go back.
Our leaders, they globalized, took all of the factories out of the hood. They had already cemented.
All right, so now his reference of time frames are all over the place because he'll say something about Detroit with the factories, but then he'll reference something in the 1900s. Like, dude, at least get your timeline right. Like, how you talk about 1960, 70, 1980, and then you're going back to 1930? Like, yo, what are we doing, bro? Like, you're not ready. My timeline, I go down. I go from an early period. I start from 1862, by the way. I could go earlier, but I like there. Homestead Act. I go to 1862 Homestead Act, and I bring you all the way down to present time. I don't go from 1970 to 1930 to 2025 to 1862. I don't do that. That's confusion.
The wealth gap with the Unfair Housing Act, FDR's Housing Act. They redlined us. They did all of these different things, and welfare was just another tactic that they used to keep us from getting a whole pie by them feeding us crumbs. As long as they feed us crumbs, we'll keep. We will not go fight for the entire pie.
No. Welfare doesn't care about what you fight for. Welfare is feeding you crumbs so you don't starve and die of starvation. And that's what he's still missing. He's not understanding what welfare is set to do. It's to stop you from living on the streets. It's to stop you from not having, money, a little cash in your pocket, and room and board. So welfare is going to get you room and board. It's going to get you some food. It's going to get you food. And if it's a supreme extreme emergency, it'll get you some cash. Not a lot, but $50, $40 to damn dollars a day. But he doesn't know that.
This
Yo, and by the way, he used all anecdotals. Oh, I'm a DJ. I DJ at parties. Oh wow, I taught kids. I didn't use anecdotals, and I can. I deal with more people than him. Okay, I talked to 303 low-income residents. 303, not including the folks who used to live there that call up and tell me their backstory, and the new applicants, right, that tell me their backstory. So I don't know what he's talking about, right? But when it comes to this topic, dude, he should be more asking me questions rather than saying a bunch of dumb shit, embarrassing himself.
welfare thing is a real trip. You know, I know women who are on welfare and are being given housing, cash assistance, food stamps, you know, all of these different governmental, you know, fiscal concessions, if you will. And the reality of the matter is, if they get a job at McDonald's, they get kicked off everything.
Okay, that's a lie, and I can't. So I let them talk without interrupting. By the way, so Donnie, as you can see, bro, I'm not intimidated. I know it's stupid shit. So no, welfare does not say you can't get a job. This is the guy who just freestyling. He's winging it. You can work on welfare. I explained later on in the live. You can make up to about $36,000 before they kick you off. Because you know why they kick you off, Donnie? Donnie, can you guess why they kick you off if you make more than $36,000? Can you guess why? It's because you're no longer in need, dumbass. Get out the way. Let somebody else come that's in need. That's why they kick you off. They conclude that you are no longer in a position of need. You are in a position of self-sufficiency. You can make it by yourself. You don't need this emergency help. Welfare is emergency help. But I was humble. I didn't appeal. I didn't pull rank, and I didn't do none of the stuff he did. Whoa, I'm a DJ. Whoa, I taught at schools. I did none of that. Well, dude, I'll handle welfare income. Yes. Go. You dig? I could easily pull rank on welfare. It's easy. He can't compete with me on this. He can't ask me questions. He can't ask me questions I don't know. I can ask him. Well, I called him out a few times. Even what he said just then. If you work, you get kicked off. I had to come back and explain that was false. That's fake news, dude. What are you talking about?
If they get maybe not Mickey D's, depending upon how many kids they got. But the reality of the matter is, if you gain any type of wealth, moderate wealth, not even moderate, like moderate to low wealth, you get kicked off of everything.
That's a lie. So when we say welfare, here's the thing that should have been hashed out. When we say welfare, are we talking about all government assistance or just welfare assistance? Okay, but the reason why I ain't good, the reason why I didn't do that, because I wanted him to have an edge. Because I knew he probably wouldn't have debated me if I would have said government assistance. So I wanted him to feel like it's an easy win for him. So I just said, okay, welfare assistance. But had I just made it government assistance, he wouldn't have stood a chance at all. It'd have been over in the first 30 minutes.
You know that they actually got a annual salary range. So I know in South Carolina it ranges, but it can be you can't make over 35,000.
It's actually, I looked at it today. It's actually 36,000 and some change. It's actually 36,000 and some change. Like, listen, guys and gals. When it comes to public housing, I'm sorry, but you guys are not going to be able to tie my shoes. Okay, this is not something you can go to school for. This is on-the-job training. Okay, mostly everybody who ever been into housing learned on the job. There's nothing to prepare you. There's no college. There's nothing to prepare you. This is on-the-job training. I guarantee you, if you ask somebody who works in housing, did they have any prior information or knowledge or education that could help them, they'd be like, no. They had to learn it as they worked. Okay.
Yeah. So for like a 1-bedroom apartment, you can't make over 35,000. I think 2-bedroom. I forgot to bring that with me. So I think 2 bedrooms is 60,000. So I think I'm sorry, a household of one. I said 2-bedroom household of one. You can't make over 35,000 now, 36,000.
Yeah, so to be more accurate, so I was right when I said household of one, but to be more accurate, so you guys can relate, because that again, that's like housing codes. But what I needed to say was incomes. Two incomes can't go over 60-something thousand. One income can't go over 36,000. Okay. And 3 incomes can't go over, let's say, I don't know, I'm just guessing 80, 90,000, whatever, but there's an income cap. So this is why. So now if he had known about welfare, he could have said this. He could have said welfare incentivizes that. Well, I'm sorry. Welfare encourages the mom to not let her 18, 17-year-olds work. Now, had he known about the system, he could have said that. Hey, moms, they discourage their kids to work early because if they work early, then their income will be considered. And if the income plus mom income exceeds the welfare regulations, you dig, you're off the program, you got to move. But because he doesn't understand welfare, he doesn't know that. And I know he didn't know that. This is why I'm not going to go in there comfortably and just fight with one hand behind my back and still win. Like, I knew, like, there's no way he's going to beat me on this. Because this is not something you just can go and learn or Google. You got to actually experience it. Okay? So this is easy for me. Anyway, let's go on.
In a household of two, you can't make over 60,000, something like that. There's a little room for like employment.
Yeah, you $60,000 a year. You can't get welfare in New Jersey. You can't get welfare in Pennsylvania. Not.
Okay. Now, dude, he's winging it. You don't do that. There's an actual. They have their requirements. Like you don't have to lie and just make up something. Every state have their, and it does vary. It does vary, and it could be significant of variance. But why wing it? Just go ahead and, as I'm talking, just go ahead and Google it. But this is focus. He's not going to do that.
At $60,000 a year, you making $60,000 a year, you are above. You're out of the cut. You have to.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm sure about it.
So now when I say welfare, I'm talking about public housing because the whole point for welfare is to get some things you name, but also I think you also name housing. So when you get housing, because there's two different type of housing. You get a PBV and a PB. So a PBV.
Now I could have been petty and asked him to show he don't know it, but I just explain. Look, I'm the watcher. I'm past that. I'm past the gotcha stuff. I could just explain, man. The hell with the gotcha. Let me just explain what it is.
The public voucher, and that's for like private residents. So that means that a private developer or a private homeowner who submits to HUD, which is housing urban development, right? So basically they accept welfare vouchers, and then you have PB, which is project based, and that's like your typical projects.
And can I just toot my horn on this? Ain't none of y'all fuck with me when it comes to this. Ain't none of y'all, because this is something you have to know. That means you have to have experience in this. There's nothing you're gonna Google. I mean, Google does help, but you still can't fuck with me. Like Google's your best chance, but you'll still lose because I ask you questions you're not gonna be able to answer. But when it comes to like this public housing and welfare and all these acronyms, you're not gonna fuck with me, man. Like none of y'all. Like y'all my kids when it comes to this. But there's nothing wrong with that because there's some things that I don't know, and I'm your kid, right? So we're all kids to something. But as far as this is something that, if you're interested, just ask as like a fucking student. Drop your ego. Hey, unbiased Ron, I got a question for so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And I got you. But the reason why you'll never learn this, because you don't know where to go. You don't know what to ask. You don't know who to research or program. You don't know. I know the programs. You don't. If I say LITIC, that means nothing to you. If I say SAD or RAD, that means nothing to you. You don't know. You're at my mercy. That's okay, because there's some things I'm at your mercy. I don't have an ego. You guys do, potentially.
So it depends which one you're talking about. You're talking about the projects, or you're talking about somebody living in a private-owned company that has a HUD program for low-income people.
I'm just talking. I was specifically talking about Section 8. That's what I was specifically.
Because Section 8, again, it all depends on.
He has no idea what Section 8 is, bro. He has no clue, and you guys don't either. All right, I ain't gonna lie and sugarcoat like you guys. You don't know what Section 8 is. He doesn't know. You don't know. But that's okay. Because I'm here.
The developer or the owner, because you can pick and choose whether you want to just deal with low income residents or welfare. Like it's up to that person. But
Yeah.
government
So the
created
low income,
developments will be it'd be all that above.
right? But the low income housing, if I'm not mistaken, you pay based upon a range of what you're making. So if you're making, say, 500, let's say dollars a week, right? Or like you say your check is $1,000 every 2 weeks,
But
right?
they go by monthly.
Or monthly, right? There we go. So say you're making, $500 a week, $2,000 a month, and you got X amount of kids, and they put you on a low income housing, then you will pay based upon how much money you make. So even those people might still be paying 500, 600, 700. It's for low income. They try to help.
No. Don't worry, I'm gonna educate them on that.
I wasn't really discussing that particularly, but even if we go down,
but you need to, because you said welfare is no good. Okay.
that base, it's a cutoff for them too, because you have to have what? Low income. So it still incentivizes you from having a high.
And by the way, most blacks will have low income. So I don't know where he's at right now. But he think most black people make $75 an hour. Like, dude, stop it.
It decentivizes you from having a higher income, right? Because if I'm making $2,000 a month and I know the cutoff is $2,500, I don't necessarily want that raise. I don't necessarily want to get that second job.
So it's based off monthly income, but the way they get.
Now that part is true. When he said you don't want that raise, that part of what he said just then was true. So Section 8 or low income tenants are going to run from increases of income. So that part, I can agree with them on that.
They gauge it on your salary. I'm sorry, your salary, your annual salary. So that's why I said one household is 35,000, and two households is 60,000. I think three might be, I forgot, 70, 80. I don't remember, but I know for a fact two is like 60 something, and one is 35,000. And so now it's based off that, So of course, the closer you are to 35,000, depends on, you get a 60% cut, 50% cut, or 30% cut on your rent.
And this is gross though, right? It's not net. It goes off of gross.
It's gross, yeah.
Yeah, it goes off of gross. So you got the government taking out money, Social Security and FICA and all these different things. Then you got unemployment, all that. Then you got if you're in a union, they take out union dues even more. Okay, so they could potentially take 1/3 to one. I mean, a quarter to.
By the way, this is live, so if you want the phone number, if you want to chime in, add to the conversation. If you got a question or you want to just make a statement, you can just ask for the phone number. I got you. Okay, it's not a debate, but if you're wrong, I'm going to call you out to prove what you're saying.
1/3 of your check, okay? And then, like, for example,
what? What is he talking about?
The job is, say you get paid on the 15th and the 30th, as opposed to every 2 weeks, right? Then what happens is you'll have more days on your check, and then they'll end up taking out more money because you got more days on your check, right?
Yeah,
so,
I swear I was trying to follow this guy, but I'm like, what are you talking?
You're making only 2 checks per month, as opposed to getting paid every 2 weeks, where some months you might get paid on the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th, right? And you get 3 checks in a month. If you get in only getting paid on the 15th and the 30th, you're guaranteed getting 2 days, 2 checks a month. Then those little extra days that may go on, as opposed to a 2-week pay period, it might be 15 days or whatever the case may be. Those little extra days, you actually they end up taking more money out, because the more money you make, the more money they take in taxes, right? So when you add that little addendum, and then you add the fact that they're dealing with a gross, okay, then the reality of the matter is, in order for you to fall under the low income area, if you will, to be able to get these particular public assistances, it may look good on paper. They might say, look, $35,000, which, if you, that's something like $3,000 a month, I believe, something like that, like $3,000 a month, but that's gross. So if they taking a 30 of your checkout and you end up getting $2,000 a month, that's only $500 a week. So it's still low income. You can't really do too much with that.
I'm gonna find out right now that they do gross, but you can.
Yeah, of course you can't do too much with it, because you're a person in need. So any upgrade is a plus. But talking to this guy is like talking to a brick wall.
We'll find out.
Yeah, you can't really do too much of that. And then you got inflation. Then you got
no, they factor on that. So they factor in that's definitely factor in, and it's based upon like the median income also. So, but all those changes that you're about to go into now, those are all factored in.
Right, but what I'm saying is, when you add all of the inflation and the food costs and the all these different things that add, that 35,000 that's chump change. That's pennies, you know, especially if you're dealing with gross and all of the rest of that stuff. So, you know, but the reality of the matter is, it still incentivizes you to be broke. And that's just low income, which is
okay. Now he got to prove that. You can't just say something and leave it there. You got to prove that.
small subset and portion of the welfare paradigm. The reality of the matter is, a lot of these girls, they apply for Section 8 and they apply for, like, you know, these like the projects and different things, and you know, their rent be like $73 a month and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and in order to get that, you got to be piss poor broke. Piss poor broke.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
What you think they're actually making when they work at Walmart?
Not enough to truly.
Or
Not
Wawa.
enough.
Like
Not,
out there making 35,000 at Wawa, or you know, if they're in Jersey, Walmart. They in another state. I don't think they're making 35 grand at a Walmart or a gas station. Like
I mean,
those are typical jobs where they're at.
all right. So even if you say that working at Walmart, okay, brings you less than $35,000 a year,
It's gonna bring away like 22, somewhere like that.
Yeah, 22,000. Like I can see that. You know what I'm saying? But once again, they're paying chump change. They're paying pennies. You know what I'm saying? Like they're paying pennies. So, you know, and once again, we still dealing with the gross versus the net aspect. So, you know, they may make gross 30,000 a year, but when you net that thing down and you pay your union dues and you pay all of this other stuff, I know ShopRite and like Giant and all of those supermarkets, they're in unions. I remember I used to work there. I had to pay union dues. I was working at McDonald's when I was like 14 years old, and I could work 18 hours and get my check used to be $80. They pay me $5.15 a week. I'm showing my age. This was years ago. Like,
so are you making an argument that they don't qualify, or that they do qualify?
Who, the people from Walmart?
No, I'm saying like your entire argument right now is that argument. Or are you suggesting that they're
my
not
argument?
qualifying?
My argument is that welfare incentivizes you to be broke. That's my argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you say $35,000 in an effort to say, well, that's kind of a lot of money, so you know, they're not incentivizing you to be that broke. You have to realize that when you talk about the gross versus the net, when you talk about, you know, the union dues and all of that stuff that's coming out, when you talk about inflation and everything that it costs to live and bare minimum, you still broke as fuck. You still extra broke. You know what I'm saying? Even at $35,000, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still broke. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what if the counter argument was that's the whole point? Like they couldn't even get on it. They, you know, because again, by definition, it's assistance for people who are broke in need. So, you know, the whole point to qualify is to be broke.
Exactly, but it incentivizes you to stay broke because they give you rewards and fiscal concessions for staying broke. Look,
like what?
Like welfare,
room and board.
No, like food stamps.
No, you get all of that so you get all that before you even qualify for housing.
Right,
yeah,
so
that's TANF. Yeah, I mean, you got SNAP too. So you got two different programs for food stamps. You got SNAP, so you can be on SNAP and get food stamps and don't even be on welfare. And you could, like, and a matter of fact, a lot of people get food stamps and they're not even on welfare. But then you get, because it's really hard to qualify for welfare, to be honest. That's why a lot of folks have food stamps and you'll think they're on welfare, they're not. They're like, nah. You're like, what's SNAP? Like, that's welfare. Like, actually, it's not welfare at all. It's really not. So immigrants can, and even illegal ones can qualify for SNAP, but immigrants. So this is clear for confusion on maybe the chat. So immigrants cannot qualify for TANF welfare. That's something like they got to be in the country for I think like 8 years. Something like that. When they come over here, they cannot qualify for federal benefits. You know, so yeah, so immigrant food stamps probably.
But don't they get state benefits though and city benefits?
Yeah, they get that. But I'm just saying, like federal programs, like what we're talking about, they don't qualify for it at all. Like rare scenarios, rare. But right off the back, most likely they're dealing with what you just said, city, and you know, churches. You got churches that don't, you know, you go to a church for assistance, the Red Cross and people like that will most likely help them out, but it won't really be the federal government.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, they're from what I'm reading. I'm on the phone, guys. From what I'm reading here, it's right. I mean, you're semi-right, you know, but it does say immigrants may be eligible for federal welfare benefits, but eligibility depends on their immigration status and other factors.
So for example, like if they're asylum seekers, that's somebody fleeing from like a crisis at their country, like they may, I guess it may be like because they left under extreme circumstances, so they may qualify. But an average immigrant who's just looking for a better opportunity, most likely they're not getting anything federal.
So it says that that it's 5 years. There's a 5-year bar. They call it the 5-year bar. Yeah. Right, but there are many exceptions to the 5-year bar. So they still find a way.
Like what? No, like what? Where are some exceptions? So we can see if it's like what's the probability and plausibility of this happening? Because a lot of us work with immigrants, and you know we know a lot, so we can see if these apply.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry. Now, typically, generally, federal government does not support.
Let me see.
So now their big finesse with us is that they'll say they don't get government assistance and they're being disingenuous. They're being a disingenuous black man by saying that because they know that we only think federal, but we're not considering state and local government. So they'll act like government is all of that. It's like, okay, be more honest, say federal government because you definitely get help from state and local.
Right, they get that. They get help from state and local. Hold on, let me see.
Oh shit! You may read mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I had it pulled up. So it says many federal programs have restrictions on benefits for non-citizens. Let me share my screen. Make it a little bigger. So I kind of like email some stuff to me. I thought we would end up going over that might, like evolve too. So you guys can read with me. Okay, it says federal assistance limited for most immigrants. Many federal programs have restrictions on benefits for non-citizens, especially for undocumented immigrants. However, some legal immigrants, like refugees, asylees, as I said, and green card holders may qualify for. Okay, so it looked like federal assistance mainly don't support undocumented. So they said that they may qualify for SNAP food stamps available to some legal immigrants after a waiting period. That's that 5 year. Like I'm thinking, maybe not. Refugees and asylees can get, see, there we go. Refugees and asylees, people who are escaping like a war crisis, or they're being political in their country, speaking against the government, and as a result, they were targeted. So that's what they're talking about right here. Medicaid and CHIP. Some legal immigrants can, and children of immigrants may qualify for health coverage. So this is there. It's not guaranteed. It's not like us. SSI limited certain illegal immigrants like elderly or disabled refugees. Again, back to refugees and TANF. So this is welfare, temporary assistance for needy families, cash assistance for some legal immigrants after waiting period. Yes, I believe the waiting period in this case is going to be that 5 year thing.
Yeah.
You say state. So I was going to read the federal part, but that was it. I don't got to read the state and local because you and I already know that this can apply to them more readily than federal. Yeah, I didn't know SNAP was federal. Yeah, I learned something.
So let me see. For many benefits with a few exceptions. The qualified immigrant category includes, I'm trying to see if this is with regards to the 5 year ban though. 1996 welfare law created two categories of immigrants for benefits eligibility purposes, qualified and not qualified. Contrary to what these names suggest, the law excluded many people in both groups from eligibility for many benefits. With a few exceptions, the qualified immigrant category includes lawful permanent residents or LPRs, refugees, people granted parole by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Cuban and Haitian entrants, certain abused immigrants, their children and or their parents, certain survivors of trafficking, individuals residing in the U.S. pursuant to a compact of free association. I'm not sure if that's, let me see. I'm trying to.
What was that?
No, I'm trying. Hey, hush, before I beat you.
You can't say that on the live.
Oh, my fault. Before I beat you to the punch.
No, that ain't for me. That's for you. You're gonna be at your door, not mine.
I would never do that. I would never do it. I just levy.
These Karens like, hello, what happened?
Yeah, I just levy.
What's that guy name?
I'm gonna read that comment.
Where's it go by? Yo, if they snitching on people selling lemonade, you already know. You got no chance.
Right.
What he say? Who you talking to? How was that kid?
Oh man, this is a pretty. I'm on the phone. This is a pretty long article. I gotta do some more research on exactly what qualifies these immigrants to elude the 5 year ban.
Yeah, so far that I know of that I came across just now was the people again, like the refugees and asylees and the asylum they call workers again, like it's people that are fleeing a war crisis like Rwanda, or if they're politically going against their like Nigeria, like the Ogi tribe, the Ogoni tribe.
Right.
Those people qualify for immediate benefits because they're not looking for better opportunity. Like for example, these people are seeing that they can't stand at home. They just can't. They're too dangerous. Other folks immigrate, but they can stay. They just don't want to, and they want a better opportunity. Like these people have more restrictions.
Okay.
Yeah, because you chose to leave.
Oh, my dumb ass. I'm sitting wondering why I can't find it, and that's because I had exceptions to the 5 bar. I'm like, they sending me to bars around the country. I'm like, yo, what the hell? So exceptions to the 5 year bar in immigration law typically include. Hey, I'm on the phone. Stop yelling.
Well, we can't hear them. I can't.
Oh, you can't? All right, good. That's fine. Babe, I say stop yelling. You start yelling. Jesus Christ. All right. So exceptions to the 5 year bar in immigration law typically include individuals with refugee status, asylum seekers, victims of trafficking, certain categories of military veterans, Cuban and Haitian entrants. So if you Cuban and Haitian, you automatically get excluded. I mean, you can elude the 5 year bar.
No wonder North Carolina got damn Haitians, man.
Pregnant women, children under a certain age, and those granted temporary protected status. Essentially, people with humanitarian or special circumstances that qualify them for expedited access to certain benefits despite not meeting the standard 5 year waiting period. So that's basically all of them. All I got to do is say I'm fleeing some shit. It's not all of them. No, I know.
It's a little more. Like they do have a filtering system, where they. Okay, so all right.
I mean, I highly doubt they're barring. Like they're not giving a child itself, the child themselves, food stamps in Section 8 in federal programs. So I'm sure that's referring to the parents of the child or having children under a certain age. So basically, I come in here and I got young kids.
It's not gonna be toddlers though.
I'm excluded Now, when they say those granted temporary protected status, remember, Kamala Harris and the Democrats, they was pretty much giving everybody temporary protected status and sending them to what they call sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. That's protected status. So that right there alone, many of them are eluding the 5-year ban. You know what I mean? So with all of these different categories you have here, there's ways to, and you know, everybody's gonna find a way. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like
they definitely get help from these immigration.
Yeah,
they helping them with the loopholes.
By the loophole, everybody find a loophole. In Pennsylvania, you can't smoke weed legally. You have to have a weed card, like it's for medical use only. But you can get a weed card for $50 from anybody. You can call this phone number up, tell them you got PTSD, and they'll send you a weed card. Yeah, like you don't have to really go to a doctor, get diagnosed, and all that stuff. You could just you just call this number. You can apply for it online. You know, they ask you like 3 questions. You tell them, look, I got PTSD. That's what everybody's saying is, I got PTSD.
But guess what happens? That dude get caught smoking weed on those federal housing projects or developments. You know what's gonna happen?
I'm not sure. You work for them, so you probably know.
Because federally it's illegal, so they're out of there.
Well, that may be true. But I know, you know, that the reality of the matter is, if you
that wasn't to combat you. That was because the people, they're kind of ignorant. You know, they'd be like,
so he's always like believing everything I say is always against him. Like he's like, in my opinion, a little too insecure. It's like, dude, when I say something, if it does not apply to your argument, let it ride. He's too insecure, man.
it's legal, and they think they just smoke in your shop because it's legal. They can smoke anywhere they want. It's like, no,
Right.
there's still restrictions. What the hell is wrong with you, man?
right,
In your spaces is legal, whatever, or decriminalized, but in other spaces there's still restrictions for smoking. You can't still, you know, this building says smoking outside. You know, smoking cigarettes is legal, but you still can't smoke.
All right, let me read some comments. Let me go back. I'm gonna go back to the top. Okay, so let's go to the top. Right. Donnie Williams said he carried on so bad I left and turned the phone off. I think he means well for sure. Yeah, but his information is so outdated. So be active said welfare is more about helping. Okay, I agree with that already. So same day parlay said FBA is a lineage, descendants of slaves, free men, and black. I agree. Black Indians. Let's see fact. Said what did he say? Coogee zapped the other day. Tethers. That's what he said. Tethers and trolls. That's who gets zapped. All right. So anyway, let me go. So Be Active says, oh, he's talking to Donnie. So I'm gonna ignore that one. So Ben Bay, peace, man. All victims of white supremacy have the right to challenge and or mitigate, defend themselves against white supremacy, point blank. Okay, Chuck said LBJ's welfare expansion and Lyndon Baines Johnson. LBJ is Lyndon Baines Johnson, by the way. Former President Lyndon Baines Johnson. He said welfare expansion in the late 1960s was a kind of riot insurance that was targeted to reduce riots like the Watts riots in black communities. Chuck says these programs changed from a safety net into a new kind of lifestyle that more and more people fell into for generations and couldn't get out. It's a trap. I don't know about that, Chuck. Chuck, if you believe that, you got to call in. Okay, so now listen, chat. You have to be open. If you don't like, if there's a topic going on that you believe you know a little about, then you need to be open-minded. Now, if it's a topic you believe you know a lot about, then you should stand on what you already know. But if you don't believe that this is your thing, then you need to be open-minded. You shouldn't be so like absolute or 10 toes down on something you haven't really thoroughly researched. And that's for anybody. You got to be careful. So welfare is a trick word, geopolitical strategy. Mixing leads of, I don't know what that means, Ben Bay. Chuck came back and said, what's crazy to me is that people who believe that the government is systematically racist are also waiting for the same government. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, hey, I ain't got to finish reading that, Chuck. That's focus problem, all right? That's focus problem, okay? These guys believe the government is so racist, but then they rely on government for other stuff. And that just confuses the hell out of me. It's like, yo, if there's an entity who's against you, why would they be for you in any capacity? Okay? So Donnie said they paid the Holocaust folks and the Japanese. That's a fact. Community and he says call somewhere. I agree. So these actors came back and said, I don't really think that any government assistance programs enable people to live life lazy. Right. I agree with Beats on that. I didn't got to finish reading. I already know. I agree. He said, by the way, Latino Americans are the second majority in those countries, and it's the least group using the programs. Well, AABs, they're not least using the program. They are using the programs, by the way. So we explain that later on in the video. I'm not gonna blow it. I'll keep playing the video. And most have used the programs at one point or another, but it's obvious that it didn't enable to be. Yeah, okay, I agree with Beast. So Beast, I agree with you with that. Evidence proves that when it comes to government assistance, Latinos are a minority. I agree with that part. See, but it depends. It depends. But when you say government, there's not one government. So you got federal government and you got state and local government. So you guys got to be very careful how you use the word government. Be careful and be specific. Okay, peace, love, Joe. Okay, so I caught up. All right, so let's play the video. I caught up.
Certain areas and buildings.
Yeah.
So a lot of those folks they mess up because they'll be smoking public housing. And, they probably get a warning. I doubt they like come at them real hard first time.
So this also says that, well, as I said, they're going to find a loophole. So this also says that qualified non-citizen children under age 21 and pregnant women through postpartum period are exempt from the 5-year bar. So you 20, 19, 18,
okay,
like
so will you agree that these people that get this assistance is helping them, right?
um
Why else would they get it? It can't be detrimental if they're all getting it and getting
I,
help to get it.
I don't believe any illegal should be coming through this country without having the proper paperwork and all and everything.
I was saying like
and,
these assistances, like don't you think
and
it's
my
helping them? That's why they
well my overall point in argument against welfare is the detriment that it does to black people. That's my overall point.
it does everybody else good but blacks.
No, it don't do them good.
That's why they
Well, my overall point in argument against welfare is the detriment that it does to black people. That's my overall point.
it does everybody else good but blacks.
No, it don't do them good either. Because first of all, they don't deserve it. I'm down with Trump on that regard. Get them the hell out. We don't have no resources to be allocating to them, especially when you're sending them to sanctuary cities that are all black communities predominantly, and these communities are already starved for resources. So we're already starved for resources, and now we have to give our resources, federal, state, and local, federal, state, and local city resources to them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not down with that.
Right?
I'm not. Well, they better go back to get help from wherever they get help from.
Let me ask you this then. So, I'm gonna give you like a likely scenario: 30-year-old woman, single mom, single parent. Parent. She got 4 kids, and she can't stay home. You gotta get out. Hey man, we can't. Hey, we can't feed all these mouths and rents due. So now, what's her options? If welfare is not an option, how does she survive? And how does her kids get fed?
Well,
and childcare, you can fear about childcare. She can't work. She needs childcare.
Okay, so there's ways to help build wealth for people in this country without keeping them dependent on only receiving government assistance or getting crumbs. Okay, and the reality of the matter is, okay, first of all, we could raise the minimum wage. Okay, we could give people fair wages. Okay, we can stop allowing these corporate oligarchs and hegemons to come and make billions and trillions of dollars while they're paying people $7.15 an hour. Okay, you know, there's things that we can do that raise the wealth of these people, you know, as a whole. And you know, the reality of the matter is, thinking long term, if people knew that they didn't have these government programs, if you will, to lean back on, I believe they would be a little bit more reticent to go ahead and you know, just have a bunch of babies, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
You said if they knew, so that means that they got to be educated.
Well, yeah, well, educated, yes, but my argument is that a paradigm for wealth should be created, and the welfare program, especially in the current state, is not a paradigm for building wealth. It's a paradigm
You know, it's
for,
not.
for keeping people from wealth.
It's a foundation for people that's in need. So I was giving you like a realistic approach, because what you're saying is, you're saying somewhere down the line, right? If all the dots and eggs are lined up, you know, there should be adjustments, raise minimum wage, or take it out the way so people can understand. Hey, man, you have all these kids, you're on your own, you know, or you have a tough time. But those are things that got to be placed, right? That's a waiting game. That could be 2030, that could be 2029, but it still ain't helping her out today. Like, she got 4 kids, and she's like, hey, man, I need help. And Focus, who's my governor, is telling me I gotta get out of Jersey because they ain't gonna support me. My black brother.
Listen, listen.
And I got these young black babies that they need to go to school.
Listen,
I need to work.
Listen, if you for example, say you in a relationship, whatever, say you got 4 kids, right? And you have the means, if you will, to support them, and then something happens, you lose your job, whatever the case may be. Okay, you know, helping somebody out of a tough spot is one thing. I'm not against that. Okay, I'm not against that. Helping somebody out of a tough spot. But my issue is with the sustainability of keeping people in these tough spots, if you will. So I'm not against helping people out of a tough spot. I am, but what I think we should be more would be more successful is providing these people with the tools and resources, you know, to build themselves to a position where they can, you know, not only take care of their 4 children, but eventually get into a position where they can build wealth for themselves. Okay.
Yeah, but don't they got to be a willing participant of that?
If they're not, look, man, you got to get up and work in this world, man. Like, that's it. Like,
right, so now you're voted in, right? You campaign all, you know, say from October to now for a mayor. You're mayor, right? You're mayor now, and your office starting in March 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this year. So that's next month. That's it. What, a week and a half, maybe just a week. So you got real. So now what you're saying, now this is a cycle. Don't you think it's a big problem with single families, single homes in black communities? That's a real problem. Like, that's likely, right? So most likely, if she's pregnant, the odds are she's most likely going to have a single parent home, right?
You say if she's pregnant, she's most likely going to have a single parent home?
If you take 10 women, 10 black women, and all 10 are pregnant, how many you think will be raising a single family?
Well, see, it depends on what you mean by single family, because the reality of the matter is,
no man at all. Like, no man, the man, hey, man, I seen birth certificates. She had 4 kids. She had 3 birth certificates, no dad, and 1 had a dad. So the men are really not involved. Like, it's just like one night stands, looking like, or just a fling, boy toy, whatever. But the men are not. You know, they got a list of. We got an application part where it says list of absentee dad, and I only know one woman who actually didn't fill it out, like, because he wasn't absent. But
well, remember,
absentee dads.
The welfare program incentivizes father absence as well.
Wait. So, but I was just giving you I explain. What are you talking about? Explain that.
It incentivizes father absence.
How?
Because, well, simple. You get a lot of the child support and the welfare and the Section 8 and all of that stuff if the man is not in the house.
No.
I'm telling you, a lot.
No.
Yes, brother.
Let
you
me
brother. Brother,
so, look, I got you. So you're talking about the early '60s. So early '60s, that was called the No Man. That's called the No Man in Home Act. Right, that was struck down.
All right, so he's telling me. He's telling me, and now he's going to be a student with no response. Listen,
way before it's 1968. So that happened like for a couple, like 3-4 years, and that was struck down. So, like, there is no, like, you could trust me. I'm looking at people who they have a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're in the house together with kids, and they have welfare. So, but the man, it's called the Man in the House Act, something like that. Yeah, that was early '60s. It was struck down like 3-4 years, like, after its existence. Way before '68, it was struck down. So the only thing that can deter a man at home is just that income standard, right? So if he's there, he's making more together, they make more than 60 grand. That's what's going to be the only, you know, thing to make him step out the house. And do you know a lot of men were voluntarily stepping out the house during the '60s because they were not working, right? And I think this is going to the Man in the House Act. So a lot of the guys stepped out the house because they were not working, and welfare wasn't going to give their wives assistance. So they voluntarily just left the household, you know, to the kids and wife to have some food and benefits, in the house. But that was during the Man in the House Act. But nowadays, and after that, you can live there. You just got to admit you're there. You're there. You won't be discriminated against, and you shouldn't be. And y'all both just got to make less than that 60 grand.
Exactly. So,
But if you look at black wealth, like we're not really making that.
I don't know if it's 60 grand. You got to show me that. You got to show me that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I know for a fact. I can do that tomorrow. I have the paper. I have all of the one household, two. All the I got it. Trust me. I know it. I know because I look at this every day because I do. That's the work I do. I just say that. So I know how much they got to make because it's my job to make sure they don't go over that because they do, then they get out of the program. So I have to check for that.
Yeah. So the reality of the matter is baked into the paradigm of the welfare system. Father absence is unfortunately incentivized. You can abandon your man and marry the government, for lack of a better term. Okay, you can rely on the government.
But what if they never? Because what I'm saying is they never had a man. Like they were just having sex.
Yeah. Well, sexual responsibility needs to be enforced too. If I'm the governor, if you will,
make a woman be with a man who she's not interested in, she's just having a good time with.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, first of all, if you restrict or let's just say, for example, with the abortion situation, right? If a woman know that there was an abortion ban, let's just say, right, and a woman know that if she has sex irresponsibly, okay, and she doesn't have sexual responsibility, that she will end up having to have this child, okay, she would be more responsible sexually, like with herself.
I disagree because South Carolina's abortion ban.
In the same way,
they got like 6 kids at like 30 years old.
In the same way, if a woman knew she would be a little bit let's say I want to say forced, but forced.
Here we go.
No, look, forced to have to deal with the consequences of her actions, okay, and find a way to feed these 4 kids and not be able to lean on the government, if you will. It would place reliance on leaning on herself and leaning on her husband or who she chooses to have this child with in order to be able to feed her family. And what it would actually do is promote sexual responsibility. If I know no matter how many kids I got, I could just either get an abortion, or if I had kids, I could lean on the government. It actually promotes sexual irresponsibility, and it keeps families from being together, because women know at the end of the day, I don't need this nigga. I can still lean on it. If I got more kids, I got a higher chance of getting Section 8 welfare, cash assistance, child support, all of this different stuff. It allows them to kind of lean on the government as opposed to having sexual responsibility and building a family, a nuclear family with a husband that she chooses to open her legs with. It will revert women back to being more sexually responsible and making sexually responsible decisions based upon the fact that they would have to face the consequences of their actions financially, have to face the consequence of their actions with regards to, having a child, as opposed to being able to be able to abort the child, okay? Then in an ideal world, what it would do is promote more sexual responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So when I say father absence is incentivized, it really is, because women are quote unquote being rewarded for not having a father in the house by the government, as opposed to being guided towards building a family, a nuclear family with who she chooses to lay down with and who she chooses to build a family with. You should not be able to just let anybody dump inside you. Now, you just have kids willy-nilly and then say,
now, I would say morally, that's, you can make that argument. But if you was to do the legislation, like, I think you would be like, people would look at you as like pro-government, as far as like, and now we're talking about Britain, like where the government can decide like what's moral, like kind of like China. Hey, you're gonna have this kid, and that's it. So when you start talking like that, I think that's gonna be a problem for this country. When government could tell you, regulate your sexual affairs and things like that.
It's not about regulating your sexual affairs. It's about creating a paradigm in which you pay for.
But even then,
it's about
let me just go.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, because someone make the argument, because in this country, there's been a tug of war with government's role and power, like ever since the country was created. Well, I would say ever since the country got its independence in 1776, there's been a tug of war with government, like what government should be able to do what they can't. And that argument, tug of war, been going on until to this day. And that would be more of a conservative. Actually, that'd be more of a liberal argument, what you just said, because the liberals, they're like pro-government having that type of autonomy to make those decisions or impact your decisions. That some would look at that just morally wrong, like what you just explained or described. The public would look at that as morally irresponsible, but they won't look at that as like kind of flirting with you making it illegal. Like, it's kind of, because if the government can incentivize, because again, remember you said incentives from the government was bad when it came to welfare. But if they're discouraging you to be free and you have sex, you bring a child to life, that's on you, another one, that's on you, and you just got to figure it out. But if the government is discouraging you, like, that's like another way to do the reverse.
Yes. So it's the reality of the matter is you do not have to make people sexual or regulate, if you will, people's sexual decisions. What you do have to do is create a paradigm in which they face the consequences of their sexual decisions. If you have a bunch of babies, you got to figure out how to pay for them. Like, that's the fact. Okay, if you have a bunch, if we do not give you the avenue of paying or rewarding you, if you will, for having these children and not having them responsibly, not having them with a husband where you can build a family and build wealth with that husband and raise your kids in the correct way, then the reality is what we're doing is we're actually incentivizing not, I want to say, incentivizing promiscuity, yes, but we're also incentivizing you to make irresponsible, bad sexual decisions. If I can have sex with anybody willy-nilly, and if I get pregnant, so what? If I want to kill I'm sorry, I can't say that. If I want to abort the baby, I can do that. Okay,
that's still a bad word though. You say that.
All right, if I want to
you can say
terminate the pregnancy, there we go, then I can do that. Or if I want to have 8 kids, I can lean on the government to pay me all these different welfare programs and incentives, Section 8 and welfare and cash assistance and child support and food stamps and all of the rest of this stuff. And what it's doing is it's actually incentivizing promiscuity and incentivizing people to make reckless sexual decisions. So if you create the paradigm to which you are going to have to face the consequences of your actions, and you don't push this hypersexualized crap in the music and all this stuff, but you just create the paradigm where you have to face the consequences of your actions. What it'll do is it will force people to make better sexual decisions, to be more sexually responsible, which would then in turn lead to a more moral society. It would lead to a society where we understand the values of chastity and the values of fidelity and the values of virginity and the values of not being promiscuous. That would be an inevitable outcome in a system designed to make you have to feel and face the consequences for your sexual decisions.
That's actually what happened, and that's what TANF was created to do. So there was pushback. So it's even in video. Matter of fact, let me play part of the video.
Ow.
Because what you're saying, Republicans and libertarians agree with, but black folks felt like, because black people got a voice now, and black folks felt like that was wrong because black folks said, "Why are you gonna do this now while we're collecting it?" Where's these restrictions where, why we gotta go to work, and do all these things when white folks are collecting stuff, they could sit home and do their nails and toes, but when it comes to us now, because welfare wasn't, black folks couldn't get welfare. It wasn't, it was called different things, but it's still welfare. It was like government assistance. It's called ADC, the Aid for Development and Children, something like that. Anyway, that was exclusive for white folks mainly. So TANF, but these white women were not working, they just having kids. Everything you're saying, they were doing just that. So then the criticism for them was like, hey man, this program is incentivizing women just to have kids and don't work. Okay, so black folks black women really couldn't get welfare. So even when few did, it's like far in between. But when it came to the 1980s, I don't know which president, I'll tell you in a second, but they created the TANF thing. I think it was Reagan. I think Reagan. He did the TANF thing. He said, all right, well, you ain't gonna just sit home all day. You gotta get a job, right? You gotta get off your butt and work, and seek employment. When that happened, the black community was up in roar, like, why not? Hell no. And they felt like that was wrong. So you can go ahead, but I'm gonna show you a part in the video where they said that. They said just that.
Well, I don't know what part of the black community that was, and I'm not gonna deny that people didn't feel that way. We all didn't feel that way. And they always give a voice to the people who furthers their agenda. So this wasn't, I'm sure, a public outcry from the millions of black people in the country, as opposed to a few politicians, lobbyists, or quote unquote activists that said, no, this is wrong. And a lot of our points of views are given to us. Our heroes are given to us. Our values are given to us by these liberals and these Democrats and these quote unquote, propped up black leaders. And if they use the machine to tell us this is wrong, a lot of us like are asleep. So we have zombies basically regurgitating liberal talking points as if that is the overall.
Now, did you hear him say liberal? He said liberals, Democrats, right? He did not say Republicans. So you see what side he's leaning on. Okay.
Feeling of black people, and it may not necessarily be the case. Second of all, did we offer them what the other alternative may be? Did we properly outline the alternative before they made a decision on whether this was right or wrong for black people? Did we offer them the pros and cons before we ask for their quote unquote decision, or did we just tell them what it is? It's like the abortion thing. It was created by racists, eugenicists, and they said they were going to use it to wipe black people off the face of the earth. Then they put 79% of their abortion facilities in walking distance from the black community. Today, black people fight for abortion more than anybody else. We vote 94% Democrat, and the Democrats are the ones fighting for abortion.
So let's address that. Bro, okay. So, I mean, like, chat. The problem with some of y'all is that y'all don't understand when you're listening to a liar, false information, or correct information. So sometimes people mix truthhood with falsehood. They'll mix a lie with a truth. And you guys will hear the truth in the lie and believe the entire statement is truth. But you don't hear the lie because you're not familiar with the lies in the argument, the position. You got to stay humble and come to channels like mine and ask questions. Stop leaning on your own understanding. Ask questions. If you think the Egyptians are black, ask questions. Don't just go what feels good to you. Okay? Don't just go what feels good. Ask questions. Be prepared for the opposite to be true. Be prepared for what you thought was true, what is not true, and the opposite what you believe is true. Be prepared for all that, man. That's the best way to be.
We're literally fighting for our own genocide and don't even realize it. So these talking points that are given to us, that we are running around talking about black people just fought for this and black people fought for that. Black people is asleep, man. Black people aren't woke. Black people are being guided into these political positions by, liberals, Democrats, and these quote unquote propped up leaders that they give us, that they give, airtime to. Okay, who picked these people and made them the talking, the vocal point of the black community? You have a lot of black leaders who are anti a lot of this stuff, who are vilified, ostracized, and potentially destroyed by the system in the machine. Okay, you look at certain quote unquote conscious people that we have that argue for a better way for black people. They get zero airtime, zero. You know what I mean? And then we got Joy Reid on MSNBC and telling us what the black position is. So I don't know who these people are, but like I said, they don't speak for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And the reality of the matter is, we need a paradigm that pushes black people towards wealth, as opposed to that incentivize them staying in the lower class. And unfortunately, welfare is one of those programs that incentivizes us staying in the lower class. Bro, you can play the video.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the conclusion from like economists, like even black ones. When black folks talk about the wealth gap, bro, they don't bring up welfare. All right, because welfare is for the person who's already broke. So that means something else made that person broke. Uh, not welfare. Now welfare. Now when people get on welfare, they got the wrong conception. That's not welfare for welfare. Just saying, hey, this is for the needy. Do you need aid? Here, come over here. But welfare, like nowhere in their mission statement, they say, hey, man, we want you to stay here as long as possible and never, accumulate wealth. That's not anywhere on their website. So like, there's a mentality in some of these communities that fosters, go to welfare and you're good. Like you got it made as long as you stay there. But that's not welfare. Like that's a whole different.
So the thing is, a lot of these economists or these people that you're talking about that talk about how we got in this position with this wealth gap, they harken back to a lot of overt racist things that put us in this position, and then they try to find a solution. What I'm discussing is the covert racist things, because you have master psychologists behind all of this. It's the same thing what I said about abortion. They're up here acting as though, oh yeah, it's just for health. It's just it's healthcare.
You can reference that. You can reference that.
It's just
but
healthcare.
I want to tackle that. At some point.
We'll tackle that. But they say it's just for healthcare. And if you go on these abortionist websites, even though those that are pro-life, they're not really acknowledging the fact that it's underlying covert black genocide. They're not, you have certain websites that will tell you, like, look, they put 80% of abortion facilities in the black community, and the progenitors of abortion was Margaret Sanger and Procter and Gamble and Bill Gates' father, and all these eugenicists who believe in this white Aryan master class race. And
okay, so that part he's wrong in. So this part where he goes into conspiracy theory, all right? So again, you got to be educated enough to know when he's in conspiracy theory mode and when he's just spitting facts.
Want to wipe all indigenous and poor and unfit, as they call them, people off the place of the earth, right? But that's not going to be on the pro-life website. It's not going to be on the pro-choice website. These are the covert mechanisms that they use. And welfare, another thing that was created by
I think mixing apples and oranges. Like,
I'm saying it's created by master psychologists to keep us
but you had mentioned
from attaining wealth.
Genesis was behind the the Planned Parenthood abortion thing, but eugenicists are not behind welfare system. Like, I mean, like flat out, it's behind the other thing. That's what I say you mix apples and oranges, because one is
hold on, say that again. My headphones came out. Say that again.
Well, one you mix apples and oranges, because one scenario you showed about abortions and the whole pro-life thing, where somebody that an originator or originator supporter of abortions was got some history or some dealings or some affiliation with eugenics, and then but you're comparing to welfare, which is a bad unfair comparison, because the people behind welfare are not known to be eugenists or have some affiliation. Like, the other person is clearly documented, and they don't apologize. Like, welfare don't have that. The reason why welfare is created wasn't for the same reason. Like, welfare is created for people after white folks after 1930, the Great Depression. So eugenics had nothing. It wasn't about eugenics in its beginning. So that's just an unfair comparison. You do welfare to abortion.
No, you don't understand. Hold on, I'm chewing. Wait. You don't understand why I make the comparison.
But still unfair, because one
to the current rate of 40%.
One is clearly a eugenicist, and
your why never makes sense.
No, but I make the comparison to show you that both are covertly destroying black people. That's why I make the comparison.
Yeah. Now that there's nothing wrong with having that standpoint, but that is not a well-documented proof or fact that you just said. Like, that's more of your assessment or your analysis, but that is not a documented fact that that either one is doing that, but it's certainly not welfare. So now, if that's your assessment, there's nothing wrong with that. That's your opinion or analysis, but that is not an absolute documented fact. Like, where what I'm saying is, like, there wasn't a report done, like the Kerner Commission, where it said, look, welfare is covertly destroying the black community, because welfare is not something you have to. You got to fill out applications. First of all, to even get welfare, you got to qualify, and it's very hard to qualify for welfare. By the way, it's not easy as people think it is, because, like you said, you got to be absolutely broke, and they do want your bank account. If you drive it, they want to know if you pay insurance, whether you got to, and they want to know how you pay insurance.
It's not hard to qualify for welfare,
it is,
bro. All you gotta do is be broke.
Yeah, you don't know, but listen, what I'm saying. If you're driving, right? Aren't you paying at the least car insurance?
You said what?
If you're driving, at the least,
stop. Go ahead.
At the least, don't you got to pay for car insurance?
Okay.
Okay, so how are you paying for car insurance if you broke? So
by getting
that means you're
by
working, right?
get right
Okay.
by getting money
So if you're working, then you're probably just
and
mismanaging
finding the
your
best
money.
quote.
But you're probably just best quote, you're probably just at
Mhm.
that point, if you're working, I mean, you can't get a housing one of those and get one of those rooms. Like, why are you here? Because this is for like people, like you said, broke. If you're working, you're not really broke technically. Now you could put yourself in debt on your bills, the debt you get into, but you're not really broke if you're working.
No, you are broke, and
Yeah, but you made yourself broke though,
the reason
because
that you are
you're
broke
actually
is
getting paid week
because
by week by week, or
listen, the reason
bi-weekly.
why you are broke is because of the paradigm that America is set up on. It's capitalist. It keeps a lot of people at the bottom while a few people at the top. They incentivize being broke through these welfare programs. The minimum wage is super garbage. We're the only developed nation without universal
Wait,
health
wait,
care
hold on,
on the
wait.
face of the earth.
Let me add a
Hold on.
fact in real fast. Wait, let me just throw a fact in because this wasn't mentioned earlier. We were talking about the income base. So now there's a stat that the average American, this is white or black, the average American spends way too much of their monthly income on rent. So they say like the average
Exactly.
American spends about 60 to 66% of their monthly income towards rent. So this is why you got government programs like LIHTC. That's an acronym, LIHTC. That's it's called LIHTC. So this was created for those who qualify, um, where the government pays up to 70% of their rent, and they only pay 30%. Now, they still work at Walmart and they still work all the jobs you just said. But now the income they did that they made at Walmart or whatever factory, the income went to their rent at 66%, where they struggle for food and other necessities.
All right, so I'm gonna leave this open for part two for tomorrow. Right now, I'm about to close out. I'm about to do a religious recap. So now I'm gonna touch on religion for a little bit. Not now, but if you go to the post I did on YouTube, go to my post. You'll get the link to how to watch that. So right now we're about to touch on some religion, some Hebrew Israelitisms. You dig? If you're into that, then go to my created post on YouTube, my community post, and click that, and you'll get the link to how to listen to me later on. Go over some. We're gonna go over some. We're gonna do some religious Hebrew Israelitism, Hebrew Israelitism uh, analyses. You dig? All right. So I'm gonna save this because we're only an hour in, right, of this with focus, and it's 2 hours more left to go. So I'll tackle some of this tomorrow. All right. So peace. Thank you.